Alright, welcome to episode 9 of the Dude Wrong Door official podcast. We've got another in-person one this time.
Woo!
It's a guest instead of being Jan or Dallas. It's my friend Wesley.
Hi, I'm Wesley.
We lost the first couple minutes of this because, I don't know, GarageBand machine broke. Had to force quit it, didn't save it. But we have another guest with us, and it is my neighbor mowing his lawn right outside my two windows. Getting some nice background atmosphere there.
So good.
It's not enough that his stupid kids are always being extremely loud and his backyard screeching and yelling and body slamming each other on the concrete. At least it's a good show sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, good old children wars.
Children fighting. I could sell this.
Hey, we could glorify this as a sport.
Yeah,
hey,
some kind of blood sport.
Yeah, which works. It goes into our first article that we already talked about earlier. But it says Fallout 4 parent company sued over repugnant ads, which is ZeniMax, the company that owns Bethesda. They make games that Americans play.
Right.
But it's a singer-songwriter, Dion DiMucci. It's basically saying that he gave them the rights to use his music, but he didn't realize the context exactly. And I think what I'm kind of getting from the more I read is he wanted context, and they supposedly gave him context, but according to him, it doesn't seem to have matched. He's saying that the violence in a trailer where they use his song "The Wanderer" is repugnant and morally indefensible. We watched the trailer that they've linked in the article, and it's probably the least violent Fallout 4 trailer I've ever seen.
It's very... From what we saw, it was... I can't remember what the name of the character for Fallout 4 is, because they've got a... Each one of them has a different title.
Guy, right?
Right, but they have like a different title. So there's like the Lone Wanderer, there's Soul Survivor. I think it's the Soul Survivor.
But it's called The Wanderer. Why wouldn't they do The Lone Wanderer?
But like...
Okay, this is what I'd sue him for. It's like, hey, no, that's stupid. I want money.
The Courier, but like they all have a title.
Okay.
But, yeah, it just has the main character going around being like,
He does shoot some people.
But, like, there's no context. It's not like it's a blood sport or he's doing it, like...
The words they use, or the words that Dion DiMucci uses, I hope I'm saying his name right.
Probably not.
Says, commercials were objectionable because they featured repeated homicides in a dark dystopian landscape where violence is glorified as sport. I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I didn't...
In the podcast. I mean, not podcast. In the trailer.
Video.
This is a podcast. The killings and violence were not to protect innocent life, but instead were repugnant and morally indefensible images designed to appeal to young consumers. I'm not sure about that.
See,
that seems like a baseless claim.
To clarify, we here at the Dude Wrong Button
official
podcast
What's this?
do condone
say?
Violence as a blood sport. Here on the podcast?
Here on the podcast,
but in the video, no, it really didn't look like it. There was a couple of scenes where he was shooting at some people, a couple of scenes where he was shooting at some super mutant.
But it didn't look like
they were glorifying it as like a blood sport. It was just in this game you will shoot at guys for various reasons.
Yeah.
This is what you want in a Fallout game, and some fitting music on top of it.
As an example, last time I said Rage, which was another Bethesda developed game where there actually is a killing sport, like a televised blood sport kind of thing. And I don't think... I think there needs to be a distinction here, because I don't know if this person is coming after the game or the trailer. Because if they're coming after the game, I don't know if their music is in the game, because it seems like it was used in the trailer, but if they're coming after the game, that seems like he's going to lose.
Yeah,
it's just, that stuff's just in games, dude. You don't have to like it.
Do you not know how video games work? Especially like this genre of games?
Yeah, this M-rated.
An open world M-rated, like people are gonna do some crazy stuff in that kind of setting.
Yeah. But if he's talking about the trailer, I think they actually would maybe have a case if they were saying, I thought it was this context, they told me it was this context, and
the trailer shows.
The trailer doesn't seem to show that.
But at that point it comes down to like the judge's interpretation of that sort of thing. So it all depends on who gets it, this case.
The more I look at it, I feel like the songwriter doesn't really have much here.
But he could.
However, I'm kind of spitefully vindicated in ZeniMax being sued for once instead of them suing everyone else.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's
just kind of like a spite thing.
Just a spite thing. It's just I'm not gonna take a side or anything. It's just like I wouldn't mind. They got a little bit of their own medicine. But yeah. Oh, okay. So we can move on to the next article. Most of these are going to be gaming related because I think the second half of the show is going to be very movie/show based.
Yeah.
So the new stuff I'll focus more on games, and you don't really read comics, so
no, I don't.
Yeah, we won't cover anything like that. But this is I haven't read this yet. I just looked at the title of the article, and I'm ready for an answer, baby. It says the article is why the full version of Halo 5 isn't on PC. This gave me the feeling that Sony gave me when they were like, "This is why we're not doing crossplay," and it was just a very stupid answer.
Just a fluff answer.
So let's see where we got an answer on here. Honestly, the answer with Halo 5 is, let's see, who is saying this? This is
because it's important if it's like some PR guy or
it's Xbox boss Phil Spencer.
Oh, okay.
So this is the dude. This is Mr. Xbox. Honestly,
Mr. John Xbox.
John Xbox. That's his name. I actually like this guy. I like Phil Spencer. He's taken this whole brand into a positive direction, but I'm ready for him to embarrass himself. Here we go. Honestly, the answer with Halo 5 is I can go take last year's game, rework it to go on PC, or I can have 343 look forward in what they're going to go do. You could say I'm cheating a little bit by doing a half thing with putting Forge on PC, because we kind of have the tools working on PC to see what happens. What? Wait, okay. So I guess what he's saying is that'll cost money, and I don't feel like spending that amount of money.
Yeah, he's saying,
dang it, that's a fine answer.
That is a pretty straightforward answer. It's like, guys, look, we could either take some of 343's resources and make Halo 5 work on PC, or we let them work at full capacity on Halo to get their
6.
next thing going.
Now, okay, there's some caveats in there. If you already have Forge on PC, they have the Forge mode, like the map editor for the game. You can work on that in PC, and then it goes over into the Xbox One's kind of, it's not a marketplace, but it's like a file browser.
Right.
Download new maps. So they got that, which means they kind of have the basics going already.
It all depends on how it works, because some code can just be really weird like that, to where like this works fine,
I guess,
and this doesn't work at all. We're gonna need to like overhaul this completely, and like I'm gonna have to agree with them on that, because like if they were like, yeah, we got it working fine with Forge, we just can't get the whole game working on PC, I'm inclined to believe them. It's not like, yeah, we're just gonna be lazy and not do it, even though it'd be easy, because that's just that's too dumb of an idea,
I guess. But there's like, I don't feel like I know enough about it, but just looking at other things to kind of set precedent, like if it would have been 360 era, I would have been far more inclined to believe this. But the Xbox One and the PS4 are basically PCs.
Yeah.
They're PCs with specific DRM to keep them from being PCs. So I can't imagine it would be terribly difficult to port them. But I hope... See, I'll totally be on his side after the fact if we learn in the future that the next Halo is on both.
Like they were like, we heard you, we listened.
Yeah, we did a little something. Yeah, it's like for Halo 5, we put Forge on there.
We realized, we can do that now, but with this one, we've worked from the ground up to make sure that it works on both.
Yeah, if that's the case, then it's like, yeah, totally. But if it's once again another just Xbox One exclusive, and it's like, so you're just gonna keep riding that excuse of,
we just really hard if we did it.
That is the worst excuse. That's why that did not work for Halo 5 split screen. Was it boiled down to, it's too hard? And I'm like, you do not win customers by saying, we can't do that, too hard. Especially when you've done it in the past.
Yeah.
With weaker hardware.
But
That's
Tim,
a whole other can
we
of
have
worms,
to
though.
use all of this good hardware to make it run at 60
For
frames.
the Kinect! Because that was, I think Halo 5 came out when they still... No, I'm wrong. That was after they had abandoned the Kinect.
And
so
we're all happier for that.
Well, I mean, maybe.
Hey, man.
I'll tell you what isn't
I grew
happy.
up with an iToy, so...
Oh, you did?
Yeah, dude. I had
I
an
only played
iToy
those at Walmart.
growing up. And,
You know what I liked? I liked the fighting game. Where it's like you and you would punch.
Yeah.
Punch you, and there's like a robot monkey that you would fight. I liked that game.
All I remember is we had some really good times with it, and then we realized if we want to compete for high scores instead of just looking silly on a camera, you just kind of wiggle your hand in front of the camera,
Yeah.
and it recognizes all of that motion as, wow, you're going crazy, kid. So it would just be like, I don't really want to beat your high score. Why not? Because you just waggled your hand in front of it. It's whoever got lucky.
Yeah, that's...
And waggled luckiest. You know, most of the Wii games that came out.
Yeah, a whole lot of Wii games that were like, this is how you're supposed to play it, but this way works much better.
Or the responsiveness on this Wiimote just isn't there yet, so we only get rough ideas of what you're doing.
Yeah, the original Wii, like, or the original Wii remotes, before the Plus.
Before the Wii Motion Plus.
It really wasn't there.
It was just kind of a guess what you're supposed to be doing and hope it understands that's what you meant.
Like, I remember we were playing, like, Wii Baseball. It was Wii Sports, of course.
Right.
And then, like, you know, we were putting all this work into swinging, you know, swing properly. And then one point, one of my brother's friends came over, and he was like, yo, check this out. And the ball went toward him, and he just kind of flicked it. It was a flick of the wrist, and he sent it flying. It was a home run. And I was just like, two things happened. One, I was like, oh, that's lame. But two, I was like, I can beat all the challenges now. Because I now know the superior way of playing the game. Anyway, moving on from 2006.
Oh, I don't even...
The Wii was old. That was a long time ago. I think it was 2006, because I'm pretty sure the 360 was 2005.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to 2017, where all video games suck, it's coming out...
Until they don't.
Right. Well, sometimes they start off okay and then they suck. Like Battlefront 2, where it looked like EA was doing everything right in comparison.
Don't tell me something bad's going... Because I was getting excited for this.
This is what I'm here for.
Oh, no.
I'm here to destroy dreams. Anyway... it looked like they were doing everything right. They were going to have free map packs. They were going to do class-based stuff.
They brought vehicles in.
Vehicles were being
good.
Well, and vehicles that weren't just find a token somewhere.
Yeah, it was
at random.
Get in a vehicle or...
Yeah. And, like, here's more than 2 modes. Mm-hmm. I know there was more than 2 modes, but only 2 of them were fun. Also, it looked like it had a skill ceiling. Or a higher skill ceiling. It didn't look like it was... All of the guns have perfect hip fire and... All the guns are basically the same.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, the first game was basically just a toy box of here's Star Wars references. It wasn't a Battlefront game. But this one was looking like a Battlefront game. Until they detailed their loot crate system.
Oh.
And it wasn't cosmetics.
What do you get out of the loot crates, Tim?
You get stat boosts.
No.
You get like new equipment and new weapons that are better than the other ones. And you don't earn them in a specific order. You know, like, in previous games, you know, like, old Call of Duty games, it was like, you could argue, like in Modern Warfare 2, the last gun you could unlock was the AK-47, and you could argue, because it was a high-damage gun, that, like, if you knew recoil control, that, you know, you could be pretty good with it. Yeah. I don't think it was the best gun. But the thing was everyone was going, it would take you a long time to get it, but everyone was going to get it if they played long enough. So it's kind of like, here's a progression thing. Yeah, it's you either have to get lucky by just using the slow in-game grind for the loot boxes,
or pay a bunch of money,
and increase your chances of getting the best equipment in the game. And their whole justification is, well, you could get it eventually. And I'm like, you don't know that you're gonna be like willing to put in that much time just to get a gun that is objectively better.
Yeah, the one that everybody else is using, because that's the one that's good.
Right, and it's not just... I'm pretty sure it's not just guns. I'm pretty sure it's also pieces of equipment. because everything needs a nickel and diming armor system. Where it's like, oh, this left shoulder pad gives you +3 accuracy on all weapons.
So how about, instead of that, we go and play Battlefront 2, you know.
Yeah, okay.
The OG Battlefront 2.
The good one.
You would unlock better weapons by getting kill streaks in the match you were in.
Yeah.
And it would just be like, hey, you're doing really well. Here's a reward, a better gun, a better thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like in-game progression, wasn't
Yeah.
it? It was a lot like kind of how MOBAs work. Like, you know, your character will level up as you're playing in a match. But, see, I think they also have that. I'm not 100% sure about that. But, I don't know. This is
the one that we do know about.
Because they had the campaign. They announced the campaign, and the campaign looked good. Whereas the first one didn't have a campaign.
You know what really, really sucks?
What?
Is that people are going to really enjoy the stuff that they did right, and they're going to let this slide, and it's going to be like, good, we can do this now forever.
Well, people have already given everyone else that free pass.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
so nothing's changed. It's like, this isn't new.
This is just the constant disappointment that is life happening to me right now.
And the bad thing is that you find it out later. I find it out after. I was like, oh no, I think I might actually get Battlefront 2 because I didn't get one. Because it just... I'm a little more difficult than just Star Wars references.
What?
Like, there needs to be...
No,
I know that's lunacy. But it needs to be something beyond just Star Wars references. You know.
It has to be good.
Yeah, it has to be good.
Fun.
And
do you remember playing Battlefront 1, though?
Barely. I played Battlefront 1 very little. Was Battlefront 1 only on the PS2?
I don't remember. It is a treat, though.
Because I played the second one on the Xbox, mostly.
Instead of having the Jedi as a hero unit, you would just call in Jedi.
Okay, no, yes. I did play the first one.
And you know what they would do? Block every projectile ever in the game that you find.
Yeah.
It was they could be running away mid-swing to kill one of your guys, and you'd shoot him with a rocket, and his arms would snap behind him and block the rocket back at you. But what you could do, we found out, me and my brother, is that they do still take splash damage in the form of, you know, like getting launched by a rocket that hits their feet.
I remember this.
So if you played on Cloud City,
you could launch them
off the map.
Yes.
And then it would take a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then it would finally go, blip, they've died.
Because they had to fall all the way down.
Yup.
Wait, does Bespin have a surface?
It's like
I've never seen it.
Giant.
It's like a gas giant.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll die. You don't necessarily have to hit the ground.
It's very clearly like a colonized planet.
It's like a colonized
Like nobody came up from the surface to build a flying city.
It's not a Jetsons scenario.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll just build some really tall things, or maybe
they're just like, okay, so there's some good stuff here. Let's just build a city on floating on top and get all the good nooch in the planet.
The good nooch, yeah. Anyway, that's really disappointing.
Yeah, I'm super disappointed.
Especially since I was like, I saw a shift happening where it was like, okay, Ubisoft is the new worst. They are the new lowest of the low. But EA was kind of saying, maybe we're just not bad now. Because it wasn't because they were consistently not being bad, it's because they hadn't done anything really terrible in a while.
Yeah.
There was a long period of relatively defensible practices.
They hadn't screwed up in a while. And like
maybe Battlefield 1 was good.
Maybe they're doing all right.
Titanfall 2 was good, and they weren't super anti-consumer or anything. Titanfall 2 in particular. Free map packs, no stat changing, loot boxes, everything like that is just cosmetic. And then they were like, yeah, for this kind of large scale FPS, it makes sense to give out free maps because you want everyone playing on the same, in the same lobbies. And I'm like, not only is that pro-consumer, but it makes business sense.
Yeah.
It's like, good on you, EA. You got to have your cake and eat it too. And then they tried to take more cake, and everything's ruined now. So, remember, all sadness
originates from EA. That's the rest of it.
Well, a whole lot of it, at least. Oh, here, I actually forgot about this. It's kind of a juicy story that we talked about to a degree. Actually, maybe we didn't.
I don't know, what is it? I can't read your screen from
Ark
here.
Survival Evolved going to a full price game.
A full price game, and now everyone's mad that it's full price now
because it's done.
Yeah,
it was.
You know that thing that happens when a game is in production and then it finishes and then you release it at the price that games are released at.
Right.
Like,
so here's the thing: if anyone doesn't know, Ark Survival Evolved is one of the millions of incomplete survival games on Steam.
Was one of the millions of
it was one of the millions of incomplete survival games on Steam. It was I think it was probably more popular because it had a little bit of uniqueness
and in
terms of, instead of zombies in some Midwestern American setting, here is frickin' dinosaurs with some sci-fi elements, and you can eat your own poop to kill yourself.
Right.
So yeah, there's quite a few things that were unique there,
and people were getting into it, and like it had a lot of the same things that a lot of the
like Daisy. And
yeah, but like more so like I think there's like Clash of Kings or something. I can't remember the name of it.
Clash of Kings sounds like a mobile game.
Yeah, it's
with
not.
A mustachioed guy holding an axe.
There's one where it's like a medieval thing, but like there's base building, and like you would get a bunch of people on a server, and they would fight between each other using their dinosaur mounts.
Okay.
And like, yeah,
that sounds a lot like Ark, actually.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's Ark.
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, they would have that, and there was like a big community around that, and like it got really popular. Mm-hmm. And now they're like, cool guys, we finished it. We did it, and it's done.
Here's
and we
the thing:
polished it to the point to where
it was in early access before,
mm-hmm.
and when you pay for an early access game, it's like, here's something that's not done, but you can play it.
And then when we finish
and when it comes out, you'll have it.
You've only paid partial price for it.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking with us and funding us up to this point.
Yeah, because it's basically like, here's some money for the incomplete game, and as a return on that investment, when we're done, you'll have the full game. You'll just,
instead of us having to go to investors, you guys are investors, and you get something to do while you're waiting.
That is the best case scenario of the system that has been abused by many people.
And then the thing is that when we have a done game, you don't have to play an incomplete game when you buy it now, but we need the full money for it.
Right. As a result, now that the game is done, like, you don't just because
we are now selling our product.
Yeah. Yeah, the product is complete. We're now selling the product to the masses. It's not people who buy early access games, which, surprise, surprise, that's not the largest group of consumers. Yeah. The largest group is people who want to buy finished games. Ubisoft learned that last year and the year before. Never mind, they don't learn. They're just selling complete games.
But the thing is that anybody who was thinking about getting it now has to
pay full price.
I have to pay full price. Because it gets to a certain point in the development process where it's no longer I'm making a risky purchase by buying this pre-release game.
Right.
And that it may not ever come out. It may not ever be finished. It comes to a certain point where it's like, oh, they're going to finish it in like...
It's done.
Like next year. I don't have to worry about them not finishing it if I buy it at pre-release right now.
Right.
And then any of those people who waited,
a full game.
Yeah, any of those people who waited are like, well, I could have grabbed it and knew it was going to be done for half price. I could have essentially got it on sale at that point. And now they're mad because they waited until right now when it's done to buy it.
Man. If you wanted it.
Yeah, if you knew it was going to be done and you knew it was...
Well, not even if you knew it was going to be done. If you liked it where it was and you know... If you thought this is probably going to be finished because it was a pretty high-profile game, you should have got it at that time. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Or even get it now.
In my opinion. Surely some people will disagree, but the fact is...
It's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
But that's not their fault for selling a game at full price.
Yeah, and like what you were saying
before... Because it's like a complete game. It's not It's not trying to sell a pre-release game at full price.
Yes, and like you were saying before, you're not... the early access people paying for that are taking the place of investors. Most AAA games have the investors while they're doing it. And then when they release, they're at full price because you're trying to make that money back.
Right.
So, like, I'm sorry, guys, but that's just how it works. And then, what's his face? The Daisy... developer, that guy. He said it was morally indefensible.
You know, the guy who has
never finished his game and continues to collect money from people for his unfinished game. Talk about the plank of wood in your own eye, fam.
That's like trying to make the other guy look bad so that you're not as bad by comparison. Kind of like that whole thing.
Doesn't work, dude.
When we were talking about... do you want to talk about Spider-Man and this whole thing with... You were talking to me about Sony trying to...
Oh, you want to... Like,
I mean,
outside of the movie.
I mean, yeah, we can do that, too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Apparently, so Marvel, like, Disney owned Marvel Studios, made Spider-Man Homecoming. After a deal was made with Sony, who owns the rights for Spider-Man for movies, a deal was made and they produced, actually developed the film. Marvel Studios did. But Sony held the rights to marketing. And it's like Sony low-key was just trying to sabotage Spider-Man Homecoming by spoiling everything that they possibly could. So it's like, if this does poorly, we'll get all the rights back. And in the meantime, they've been working on a Venom movie, which is not going to be part of the MCU because that's smart.
It may not include Peter Parker.
Yeah, it may not even include Peter Parker, which...
What?
Venom's cool, right? But
like the
he
whole
needs
point,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, the whole purpose of Venom is to involve Spider-Man.
Yeah, he is a Spider-Man character. There's just there's no
his
two
whole
ways
story
about
is
it.
tied into his relationship to Spider-Man.
Right.
Without him, it's just I am a schlock B-movie villain, like...
Or edgelord. He's one of the two. B-movie villain or an edgelord.
But it's just like, he doesn't have any depth without the relationship to Spider-Man, and then
I wouldn't say
past that
he doesn't
point.
have any depth.
Right.
But kind of... I would argue that Venom is cool because of his relationship with Spider-Man and the symbiote suit and that whole arc that is pretty well known.
After that point, then you've got that connection, you've got that relationship,
Sure.
and then you can go off and do, like, Eddie Brock...
Yeah.
That whole deal, and then, like, because that's woven into the context of this whole thing with Spider-Man, if you just have, I am a symbiote that latches onto people and makes them crazy, you can do that story.
He better not be in New York.
You could do that crazy story, but it's not Venom, per se, it's just something that possesses bodies, and, like...
I mean, I guess you could argue it either way. I'm sure there's people who don't care for the Spider-Man comics or anything to do with Spider-Man, but they've enjoyed Venom.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, there's probably MVC2 Venom mains who are like, I don't need Spider-Man.
I've got Venom.
I don't put him on my team. I got Storm and Sentinel with me. It's kind of a weird combo.
But then he doesn't even look like Venom. Even if you like the design, he doesn't look like Venom until after he gets, like, the spider eyes and everything.
What are you talking about?
Venom doesn't get, like, he takes on the design of Spider-Man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, okay.
After he merges with Spider-Man.
If he doesn't look like that, then it's
not Venom. It's just Goop Man.
Sony, you're just being silly. Also, Spider-Man did extremely well at the box office.
Good.
So I don't know if Sony's going to be getting that money back.
But yeah.
It didn't beat Spider-Man 3 just because, of course,
Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3 was like that. Spider-Man 3 was a disappointment no one saw coming, and we had just come off of Spider-Man 2, which I'm not sure how I rank them quite yet after seeing Homecoming.
I'd have to go back and watch the other ones.
Thing is, Spider-Man 2 was really, really good, so it makes sense that Spider-Man 3 would still be kind of at the top. But if I'm not mistaken, this puts it in second place among all of the other Spider-Man films.
Which is respectable for being the first one of a... If they're going to do a series or have him in a bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm. 120 million box office debut. It's probably going to do better because it did very well in reviews, so it's going to have legs. Kind of like Wonder Woman did. Wonder Woman made a whole lot of money over a long period of time.
I still need to see Wonder Woman.
Yes, you do.
It's really,
it is excellent.
Really good.
Anyway, let's see. Nah. I mean, Shia LaBeouf got arrested for public drunkenness.
But nobody's really surprised.
No one's surprised. It's hardly worth talking about.
And is it really gonna affect the people's viewpoint on Shia LaBeouf?
Honestly,
no.
Nah, I mean, I'm not mad at him.
No. That's just the thing that happens. He seems to be going through
a lot of stress.
Yeah.
He's a really worked up guy lately. Not much to talk about.
And it's not like Shia LaBeouf has cultivated an attitude of like, I would never be arrested for public drunkenness. Yeah. It's like, no.
He's never been the kind of person where it's like, public drunkenness? No, it's actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf. That's a parody.
What do you mean? You didn't catch him eating a guy? No, he was just drunk and in public.
Well, took a little break there. I'll probably clarify that when I'm editing it. But getting some weird audio issues from GarageBand. GarageBand's not wanting to play ball.
I blame me entirely for my presence here today.
Yeah, Wesley's kind of a walking EMP.
Yeah.
He just breaks technology that he's nearby. It's probably a superpower.
Yeah. Like a really terrible superpower that makes you a villain.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's the kind where it's like, well, I have no good to do with this. I can only do bad.
Not necessarily. I mean, you could probably stop a nuclear launch system. Someone's gonna fire some bombs, and you just walk in there, just be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" Everything just starts breaking and messing up.
So I'm sent in undercover as like just a plant into the villain's hideouts.
Yeah, and you just walk by things and they break.
Just like, oh hey,
I feel
what's
like
going
I've seen
on?
this before. Have I seen this before?
Maybe.
I feel like there's probably someone with like electrical powers that just, undercover can walk by things and just zap. Now it doesn't work. I feel like it's probably happened before.
People in the comments let us know.
You could be harnessed, I bet.
Yeah.
You could be harnessed.
I mean, I'm probably like a size large. Maybe extra large.
Alright, well, we're probably done talking about the news stuff, so we go and talk about Castlevania.
And hope that none of this
hope
has the
that
same
it doesn't
audio
mess up.
issues.
Yeah. If it does, I guess I'll just cut that part out. So,
or we could play with how it... Because it seems to have sped up our voices.
There's a weird syncing issue where we suddenly start to talk really, really fast. And it's like... I don't know. It's bizarre. Anyway. So we can talk about the Castlevania series. The Netflix series. Hardly a series.
Yeah.
More like...
It's 4 episodes.
Yeah, it's 4 episodes, but those episodes also feel like 4 parts of an 88-minute long pilot.
Yeah.
It's a good pilot.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's good on its own.
Sat down and It's good that it came out on Netflix all at once.
Yeah.
Because...
If it was a weekly schedule...
There's no way that this would have survived as a weekly thing.
No, I think it maybe could have gone 3 episodes and people would have stopped watching before the finale.
Yep.
Because, the first episode is kind of a good standalone setup. Second episode is pretty slow. Not a lot happens. Third episode is very slow. Not a lot happens. And then
everything reaches its climax in the last fourth episode.
The fourth episode is the climax of this movie. And it was great by that point. By the time it was over, I was like,
everything fit together really nice.
It was like one moment near the end. It's like everything snaps into place and retroactively made everything worth it.
Yep.
Which, in the context of a show, is bad. It's kind of... It's neglecting. You're kind of neglecting making...
each of the episodes good.
Yeah.
But because this feels like it was... Okay, so we want to start a series, but we only have a movie to put as the lead-in to our series. We can't really change the format like that because we want to list it as all the same thing on Netflix when it comes out. So we'll just split it into episodes, have all 4 episodes come out at once, and then everybody watches it and are like, yes, more please.
Yeah.
And you know what they did? We looked it up right after we finished watching it, and they were like, yeah, it's the same day that it's been released.
Season 2 renewed.
Season 2 has been renewed for 8 episodes instead of 4.
Right.
Which means that they're probably like, good.
It's probably a series.
Yeah, it's probably an actual series where the gang is going on episodic adventures, fighting demons and saving towns. And
that would be pretty sweet. I'm down for that. It sets up a really likable cast while spending most of the money. Well, I guess most of the money. Most of the movie
too.
Spending most of the movie kind of being around people that are not too nice.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
the hero is absolutely an anti-hero.
God, Trevor.
And you can very much sympathize with the villain.
So, like, we can talk about Trevor.
Yeah, well, it's based on the games. It's based on Dracula's Curse.
Me, being somebody who hasn't played through the Castlevania games, I've only gotten, like, general pop culture.
And you probably know more about Simon, because Simon's the main guy from the first 2 games.
But I also knew, blank, 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 spoiler at the end
Belmont.
of it. Well, no, the thing at the end.
Oh, right,
I'm not going to talk about that.
Character,
I was just like, wait a minute, isn't he? And Tim was like, yes, that is that guy. And I was like, oh, I'm glad I knew that. But it does a good job of, like, the feel that you get just from, like, even if you've only played, like, the first couple Castlevanias, or like you've only played like a Castlevania somewhere, or seen people play them. It gets that feel across. It's like, no, there's demons, Dracula's castle, this is all bad. Things have gone poorly.
It was honestly, it didn't feel like a gritty reboot or like it was trying to be dark. It was basically like it was kind of like when Frank Miller did The Dark Knight Returns, where he took Batman and he was like, let's stop pretending this was a kid's thing and like present the same scenarios realistically. And it's like, nah, yeah, Joker's a psychopath, dude. Like, he's unhinged. He belongs in an asylum. Yeah. It's not just a funny villain. It's like, no, that's a lunatic. But with Castlevania, it's like the older games. You know, a kid could play them and not be traumatized.
Well, yeah, I mean, because like it's just like, ooh, a floating skull. But like, if you start to see skulls flying around,
it's like something's wrong. Something's
like,
going on there.
No, this is much more terrifying than the little pixelated skull that I bash and he turns into a little flame, and I'm like, yeah, I did it.
There's skeletons throwing bones.
You know what I was disappointed about?
Huh.
No wall chicken. Not a single point in this scene.
No one found any meat
in the walls. Nobody broke. Trevor didn't get thrown into a wall by something, and then a turkey leg fell out. He was like, good.
Terrible adaptation. That was one of the most important parts of those games. Also, no one was using hearts for ammo.
Nope.
Something that always confused every child the first time they played it. It was like, wait, hearts don't give me life? That's what the wall chickens are for. Hearts are ammo.
They had the spinny axe.
Yeah, they had the spinny axe. They had
holy water.
Yeah, they had holy water. They had the items like made cameos. They had the throwing knife.
Yeah.
Naturally, you know, the vampire killer, the whip, is in there.
But like
there's one character that I didn't expect to be in there at all. I don't know if I should spoil it in case people care.
Is it? But how far into it?
It's third episode, I think. We find out.
Oh, so it wasn't the Archdemon of Snark?
Oh no, I don't think he's from the games. But there's a moment near the end where we named this guy the Archdemon of Snark because he's having this kind of confrontation with another one of the villain characters. It's villain versus villain here for a little bit.
Yeah,
and they're having this
really good dialogue.
It was a very good moment of dialogue. I think there's moments in the movie that kind of seem like that was done as a joke. It was kind of crass. But there's a lot of good dialogue. But this moment in particular, the Archdemon of Snark comes up to this guy, and they have this back and forth, and it's like when villains are trying to out-monologue each other. It's like, it was good stuff, and it ends very satisfyingly.
Yeah.
Also, probably as a content warning, this movie is extremely dark.
Yeah, so and there's some viscera for people who are thrown off by that. Now I'm gonna
clarify that viscera,
like meaty bits and entrails.
Oh, gotcha.
Bits.
Oh yeah, there's like.
But the thing is that like it's not like just gore porn all the way through. It's not like anytime someone's on screen and there's a fight, here is just explosions of body parts and blood and guts and it's not like that, but when things do start to go down, it is not trying to censor you from it.
Right.
It's that man just got his eye whipped out of his head.
Yeah, and they actually put the work in of making the vampire killer, which is the whip from Castlevania, making it seem like, because you think using a whip, like that's just supposed to hurt things. That's for cattle, make them move.
Whack, crack.
But this is not just
when you've got the tip of like a rope moving at supersonic speeds.
Yeah,
because that's what makes
limbs off.
That's what makes whips crack.
Yeah.
You've got the end of this piece of rope breaking the sound barrier.
And it is called the vampire killer. So
That's gonna hurt.
It's made to rip apart very durable monsters. Mm-hmm. So and they sell that.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, yeah, the whip is to be feared. But also there's the kind of thing where it's like that's the thing you never show, and they show it.
Yeah.
Whatever you're thinking of normally, if it pertains to
they're going to
violence,
cut away before we see this guy. We're going to see the shadow of like a part getting ripped off.
And it's like, now you see it.
That's happening in front of you. You're watching it, so be aware. But it's not like even me, who is like a little squeamish on some stuff like that, I was like, ooh, them some entrails.
Yeah.
But then, like, it leaves. It doesn't, like, look at the bodies, look at the bodies, look at the bodies, look at them. And I was like, I don't want to look at the bodies anymore, Uncle Castlevania.
But there's two things that a lot of even hard R stuff normally won't do.
It's the crows.
That it does. No. Not the crows, but it does these two. Okay. What are you talking about?
What? People are afraid of crows.
There is a part where it holds on this crow after a scene transition. It's like a close up on the crow, and it's just kind of looking around and blinking. And when we were watching it, after it sat there for a bit, I just went, "Gah!" And then after that, the crow goes, "Gah!"
Tim had startled the crow in the scene into action. He was like, oh, that's my cue, thank you.
It's like, I knew exactly what he was going to say. It was a perfect moment for you to say
Sorry, what
that.
are the two things like, hard R do?
And you have to be prepared, because I can think of people who just don't want to see this.
Yeah.
Kids get killed.
Yes.
Babies get killed.
You will see, I was about to say, yes, you will see dead babies.
There's a dead baby.
There is a dead baby. There are dead children. But, like, it's not like, we're gonna kill the babies and the children.
Yeah, no, it was kill all humans.
Yeah, it is. There are babies and children amongst all of these people who we're killing, and we're not gonna save the baby. We're demons.
Yeah, they're demons. It's like, there's no reason for them to not kill them.
They're not targeting the... If the fact of, oh, they're just going after the babies and the children, no, they're killing everybody. Don't be offended by the indiscriminate murder of demons, people.
Yeah. And, like, the reason it's happening is because Dracula is furious. He's a... In the setup, kind of the first episode is basically it's about Dracula. It's not about the main characters.
Yeah.
It's almost like this sets up the conflict and sets up Dracula as a sympathetic villain.
Yeah.
But it's his descent into absolute full-on vengeance upon the human race itself.
It goes from being, I am mad for a reason, and now I'm going to take that anger out in a way that is disproportionately, like, destructive.
Yeah, it was like...
it's like, I'm with you, Dracula. I'm no longer with you. What was that about? Kill all humans?
Yeah, it was kind of like... It was like, Dracula, chill, you know, ants aren't so bad. Maybe let some ants in your house. Give them some food, you know, maybe they'll learn.
They didn't know what they were doing. They were dumb. They're dumb ants. They're dumb tiny little ants.
Then you come back and the ants went out of control and killed your dog. You kill all the ants. You kill all the ants.
No, this makes it to where kill all humans is the correct choice, Tim. This scenario makes kill all humans.
That's what I was saying. I'm saying that's how
saying
Dracula sees it.
Oh.
No, Dracula sees it as ants.
Okay.
It was kind of like, give him a chance.
I thought it was more, we're having this nice picnic, and it's great, and we've made sure there's no ants around. Dang it, ants got in the picnic, you guys. And then Uncle Greg over here was like,
brought in a freaking flamethrower.
I worked 8 days.
It took us 3 days to make that potato salad. 3 days!
That's exactly. And not only does he, like, burn the ants at the picnic, thus ruining the rest of the picnic.
He goes and finds the rest of ants.
And it's just
the rest of ant kind. It is disproportionate vengeance. So it's like, yeah, he is the bad guy.
But it is the coolest vengeance I've ever seen.
There is some cathartic feeling.
Oh, and
when
there's
it starts.
In the first episode, that scene towards the end of the first episode, where Dracula had been convinced to travel as a man.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay, that is a really good scene.
It's a really good moment. I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything.
But yes, there's this whole point of, like, he meets this woman.
Dracula's turning point.
Yeah, he was being very cold and like, you think that maybe, like, the whole series is going to be him and his Beauty and the Beast scenario, or I thought maybe we were going to get a Beauty and the Beast type of couple episodes of, here's this woman who's come to Dracula and he slowly falls for her, and it's like, no, we're going to assume that happened and move on.
It is a very brisk first episode that doesn't treat you like an idiot.
Yeah.
You maybe think it's going to go one way, but it's like, okay, no, it's not about that.
We're not focusing on that. We're going to establish that this happened, and then move on.
There's enough interaction with that kind of romance where you absolutely buy it.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, I can see how this gets from point A to point B. I can fill those points in, and we'll move on. They fell in love. This is a thing that, like, we have established that they can...
And they actually established it in a way of, oh, no, they fell in love. And this is what happens. It was, we're going to show why this works. They have a scene, and it's like, they have really good chemistry. They're going to get along.
I want them to get together. And then they get together, and
then they get together.
Congrats.
And then the rest of the show happens. But anyway,
I was so excited for Happy Dracula. Like, man.
Oh, well.
I can't have that. I should have known. It was Castlevania. He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
You can't have the bad guy who's like, no, I'm just hanging out with my wife and being happy and content with life.
Right. That's not what's going to happen.
But, like, I was fooled into thinking it, maybe because of my naivete or because the setup of this...
It was pretty good,
yeah. The setup of this first episode is
It was almost like the writing was good enough for that interaction to where you could say, no, they could make a whole show like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just really happy for you, Dracula.
Matter of fact, these writers could probably do a kind of snarky romance show, and it would work.
Who's to say they're not going to?
Oh, you're right.
Going forward.
You're right. But yeah,
I
would recommend
Snark
watching
Demon and Dead Baby number 3.
Right, yes.
I think they had really good chemistry on
really
screen.
Good chemistry, yeah. Good God. Anyway, I would recommend the show if you're, first of all, not squeamish.
And I mean, like, even if you're like, I don't really want to...
When I say squeamish, I mean really squeamish.
Yeah, extremely squeamish.
Like, if you can make it through a Tarantino film, you can probably make it through this.
And I mean, I barely made it through...
He barely made it through Reservoir Dogs.
I barely made it through that scene with the ear in Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. And I made it through this just fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, it's animated.
It's not
it's
animated.
Super, shockingly
and they
detailed.
do not hold on it for an uncomfortable amount of time. They're not...
Yeah.
They are not trying to make you look
2.
at it. They're trying to make you understand that this has gone demonstrably...
This has gone wrong, like, and this is just, people dying now.
Yeah. And not even just, like, casual, oh, they're dead, look, the death washed over them, and they are now dead. They are dead from claws.
Yeah. They are dead from their skin is not there. It was torn off. It was not elegant. Anyway, I would recommend it. It was good. If you like, it's a really good video game adaptation, which is very uncommon. And it does it in a way where you still get the kind of little callbacks to video gamey elements.
Trevor is a good, dark
I think
anti-hero.
Trevor is a great anti-hero because they get the good balance where it's like almost his catchphrase is "I don't care."
I could feel but he early 20s, late teens girl inside of me swooning for Trevor Belmont. So I'm pretty sure he's written really well.
Yeah, he's got the Zuko thing going.
Yeah, he's got
the late Zuko thing going.
He's got a really good brood to him.
Yeah. Oh my! He was even Dishonored.
Yeah,
he's straight up Zuko.
He's got a scar on his eye.
Best anti-hero.
And all the
he gets introduced with a bar fight.
Yeah.
How do you not love that? That's excellent.
And the other characters, because like I don't want to talk too much because that starts getting into
that's
later. But like the other characters that we get established by the end, here's our squad. It's a good squad.
Yeah, it's a good squad, and he bounces off of them well.
Yeah.
Your main character bounces well off of
your
the
other
characters. Yes. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Also, I didn't recognize any of the voice actors.
Yeah,
which is a good thing when they did a good job.
Performances. Yeah,
when they're doing a good job, it's good.
Even
when you
the two guys in the bar, with their drunken slur and their like weird kind of like.
Yeah, I liked that conversation. Anyway,
it really made
I recommend
that bar scene. Really made a point in Dracula's column of kill all humans.
Oh, yeah. It's like, nah, we can just kill all these.
Like, no.
There's nothing to save here. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, we're gonna start running out of time. But go watch Castlevania.
Go watch Spider-Man. Also
go watch Spider-Man because it was great. We're gonna talk about that.
It's so good.
It was really good. It's either my favorite or my second favorite Spider-Man film. I need to watch Spider-Man 2 again.
Same.
The thing is, I like Spider-Man Homecoming more because of Spider-Man, whereas in Spider-Man 2, I like it because of Doc Ock. Like,
yeah,
Spider-Man manages to be one of the best characters in a Spider-Man movie for once.
Good.
Yeah,
great.
It's unexpected. It was almost like, oh my god, I like both the hero and the villain here. That's another thing. Homecoming has a really good villain.
Yep.
Definitely one of the best villains the MCU has had.
Can we talk about who the villain is? Not like who the villain is.
I mean, it's the Vulture.
It's the
Everyone
Vulture.
knows who the
Everyone
Vulture
knows
is.
the Vulture. I just I don't know any of the promotional material, so I don't know if it's like the villain is the Vulture.
I know some of it, but here's the thing: I think the promotional material gives away too much.
Does it? So, I'm glad I didn't see any of it.
With the Vulture, though, I really like his setup because it's he had an opportunity to benefit from this crazy aliens invading, Avengers going on. He had the ability to benefit off of this as an honest working man, but then it's taken from him. So by the superheroes who have caused this problem now making money from fixing it.
Yeah.
Because what happens is Tony Stark teams with the federal government to start this damage control program to clean up after superhero events or supervillain
Which,
events,
makes sense.
It makes sense.
Tony Stark would do that.
Yeah.
But, he doesn't understand.
But Tony Stark is not... He's not he's not someone who needs a job. He's trying to be the good guy. And
he's trying to make up for the damage he's caused by being
I'm going to set up It's not a bad thing that he's doing. It's just because of what he's doing, he's putting other people out of his job.
Out of the work that they are desperately needing at this point.
Which
in
makes
New York, yeah. Which, Tony definitely does not understand that he's screwing the little guy out of this, but it's one of those things. Tony Stark doesn't really pay attention very much.
He's not there on the ground.
Yeah, he does not pay attention to necessarily the plight of the little guy, which is a thing that happens.
I can buy this intro for the villain. It makes sense, and it doesn't... It's not like...
And none of this is really spoilers, because this all happens...
No, this is the very beginning.
This is before the Marvel cinematic thing
This rolls. Is before Spider-Man even shows up. Yeah. They establish the Vulture. Or the guy who becomes the Vulture. I think his name is... I can't remember his name. It was Toomes? Something Toomes.
Something.
His last name is Toomes. It's Michael Keaton, who does a good job, because he's Michael Keaton.
So good.
If Michael Keaton does a thing, he does a good job. But, yeah...
I like the designs of all of the... I'm thinking about it right now because I was like, man, I really liked Vulture's design, but I liked everyone's design.
I liked all of the costume designs.
I liked Spider-Man's suits.
Yes.
Both of them. I like his homemade suit.
Yeah. And I like you get some of the homemade suit in this movie.
You get the new suit that Tony made for him.
Right.
That's really good.
The eye animation.
I know I saw it in the trailer, so I can talk about it, but when he puts on the suit, it's really baggy when he puts it on.
Oh yeah, and then he hits the button
very loose,
and it fits to him,
so that you can get it on quickly, and that makes sense. Because you imagine
it was designed by Tony Stark, who's an engineer.
You imagine being like, hey, this skin tight superhero suit works really looks good.
It's probably hard to get into.
How do you get into that? Do you have to get the baby powder splashed and then kind of pull it on? Do you have to get somebody to help you? No, it makes sense if you design it loose and then cinch it afterwards.
Yeah, that part's cool.
The Vulture's design isn't a villain costume. It's not
It's okay, the Vulture's thing is practical while still having the kind of
the flair
style to it
that the Vulture has.
Right, and just... Pilot jackets, man. They're just cool. So they're like,
bring them back.
This guy is a bird-themed villain who flies, but we're not going to make him an actual bird mutant thing he is in sometimes in the comics and TV shows. We're just going to give him, some mechanical wings,
which are cool as heck.
But he's a working class villain. So we'll just give him a jacket.
Yeah, he's got a jacket and the cool helmet, and that's it.
Yeah,
but it really does be. You look at him, and you go. Even without the wings, you'd be like, which Spider-Man villain is this? Well, it's obviously the Vulture.
Yeah.
This guy's the Vulture. He's got, Vulture-y kind of
and he has,
deals going on.
He's got the green eyes. There's not much green going on.
Yeah.
Because normally the Vulture has
It's like a big green motif. But.
Yeah, but he just has the green eyes, so I think that does enough.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if this is consistent with the Vulture... Normally, I've only seen the Vulture in the cartoons, and I don't remember this from the cartoons. Yeah. But he is literally a scavenger. He's literally picking up the remains of the bigger, scarier predators.
I don't know if that's a thing, but it's a good. It
makes sense.
It's a
good
thing.
It's he's a vulture. He's picking up the remains and using it for himself.
We really enjoyed because we've been talking about this a lot because we saw it yesterday and have just been talking about it.
We're not doing spoilers for right now, by the way.
But we've been talking about how we really liked the character of Peter Parker and the other characters that show up in his high school.
Yes.
Because, Spider-Man is a superhero who also has to go to high school.
Yes.
Which, interesting.
Interesting.
It's interesting, we've seen it growing up a lot because we grew up in like
right in the 90s, and the
like
2000s,
where it was Spider-Man, Jake Long, Juniper Lee.
Oh yeah, dude.
Kim Possible.
Wait, Juniper Lee? I had forgotten about that till you just now said it. I
had
forgotten all about that show.
Somebody brought up the fact that it was like, so like Jake Long and Juniper Lee were like, really the same premise?
Was that same universe? They could have had a crossover.
I don't think they were. I'm pretty sure that they were competing.
Oh,
okay. For time for like.
Okay, gotcha.
On different channels.
Jake Long won and then squandered it.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about American Dragon.
Well, let's not get into American Dragon.
If I come back and do another podcast, we're talking about American. Write that on the board. We're American Dragon Jake Long with Wesley.
We should have a counter on how many Dante Bosco characters we can bring up in one podcast. But anyway, what I really liked is that he feels like a high schooler for the first time I've seen in any of the movies.
In a long
Tom
time.
Holland is in his early 20s, but I can buy him as a high schooler.
Yeah.
He's
very
got that
little baby face, yeah.
And he's short.
And he's got that higher register voice.
He's got a higher register voice.
And like just the focus on him having to do school things and be in high school and deal with that.
And okay, and it
is
wasn't
a thing.
Just,
it's not just like a contrivance to be like, oh, now bad things happen at school. It's
right. It's
hey, Peter, like we're doing this thing later. I really got to go do other things and go be a superhero. Okay, man, go do your whatever, I guess. Don't hang out with your friends.
And it isn't just, I have other engagements, and, I have schoolwork I need to do, and other things that, have due dates. It's, I want to have a social life and be a kid, but I can't because I've got these responsibilities, because I got this great power.
And the thing is that it wasn't like there are definitely things going on that I need to stop in the city. All of the things that he was doing is like,
yeah, he's doing a lot of small town.
He's doing a bunch of small town like things.
Small town, being New York.
Yeah, but like he's doing a bunch of like low impact crime fighting at that point.
Yeah, saving old ladies' bags from being stolen.
Yeah, or like
classics.
Somebody stole a bike and he stops them from like this is stuff that like Peter doesn't like. You wouldn't feel like I need to do this if I don't do it, no one's going to do it. It's one of those I want to help people and I want to sit. So it's a lot more of a choice instead of I can't. My duty stops me from hanging out with my friends. But I kind of want to go save. I want to go help people who are getting their bikes stolen and like do that. I want to help that.
But I also, man, I'd kill for a social life.
But like I want to go and hang out with people. But like I also kind of want to. It's not a. Well, obviously, like, if I were Spider-Man, I definitely... In that situation, it's like... I mean, like, how often do I need to be Spider-Man this week?
Yeah.
Like, there's a party coming up.
Especially when the whole movie, it's almost...
Can I make it up to myself as Spider-Man if I do, like, 2 hours of Spider-Maning on Wednesday so that my hour on Thursday is free to go to that party?
There's also the struggle for him to feel relevant.
Yeah.
Where he's like... There's all these things coming at him telling him, we don't need you.
Because it's set up, the timeline is after Civil War.
Yeah, after Civil War.
So Spider-Man has gotten his first taste of, like, real heroing.
And now he isn't doing that every day like he wants to do.
And he wants to
mission.
be that.
He wants missions, yeah.
He doesn't want...
He wants to be an Avenger right now.
Yeah, I patrolled around for a bit and, did some things.
Stopped a couple, little thefts, getting cats out of trees, that kind of thing. But he wants to, fight big villains and stuff like that. And he doesn't really get to.
Tony Stark shows up because he's his mentor, and he's a good mentor. It's Tony Stark in a mentorship role, and not just I'm Tony Stark. I am your now perfect mentor figure. It's very clearly I am Tony Stark. I have a kid now that I'm trying to teach.
Yeah. And I also have places that I need to be.
I'm also Tony Stark, so this is a balance for me. Oh, I hope I do this right. There's a lot of talk. If you notice when he's... I don't know. I might want to save this for when we move to the spoiler thing.
Yeah, let's save it.
But yeah, Tony Stark is good in this. Happy's in it.
Happy is in it a lot.
Happy's in it.
There's a lot of Jon Favreau in this movie.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Not a ton of Jon Favreau.
There's just more than I expected.
Just more than you would expect.
Also, I would argue that this is one of the funniest Marvel films, but it still isn't a comedy.
Yep.
Whereas I think the Guardians of the Galaxy things could arguably be action comedies.
Yeah.
This is an action movie with lots of comedy that often lands. Mm-hmm. Also, Hannibal Buress is in it, and every time he does a thing, it's hilarious.
Remind me...
Was he their gym teacher? He was like the gym teacher and the detention guy.
I didn't even know.
You didn't realize it was him?
No, I didn't realize it was him.
He wouldn't teach them. He would play old recorded tapes of Captain America, giving the students motivational.
And by
talks.
old, we mean like
Avengers, from 2008.
Yeah.
Like after they got Captain out of the iceberg, they had him record these
but
things.
Not. He even makes a comment about how now this is post-Civil War. He even goes...
He's like...
I'm pretty sure this is...
I think this guy's a war criminal.
But I don't know. The state requires me to show you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good jokes in this. I don't want to talk about them because the worst thing you can do is talk about the jokes.
Talk about a joke. But, yeah, it's good.
It's just really good.
I'm trying to think of something else we can talk about before getting into spoilers.
I mean, just it has really good... superhero moments balanced with good high school moments.
Okay, here's the thing that I can say without spoiling anything. Spider-Man multiple times is being a superhero and not just an opponent to a supervillain. He's often there saving and inspiring people.
Yeah.
Which, that is why Wonder Woman is also so good. Because she does that. I think... With a lot of superhero movies, it's here's a big bad for you to
They
smash
are
up
a
against.
hero because they're fighting a villain. That's not what makes you a hero. What makes you a hero is being a pillar of your community.
Yeah.
Like in general, not even like a superhero.
Yeah, and Spider-Man does that in this. His priority is saving people, not defeating villains.
Yeah.
So, yeah, without spoiling anything.
It's good. It's really good.
I recommend it big
Go
time.
see it. Go tell Sony that they need to just let go.
Back off.
And let them have
why?
this. Son, why? Just let them have this. Let us have our perfect little Spider-Man. God, he's so good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll probably wrap up the spoiler-free.
The not spoilers.
So now we're going to the spoilers. This is your last warning. Going right into spoilers.
Do you want to I don't know if you put any kind of is it just one background when you do the podcast?
I sometimes have little things pop up.
Okay, because this is now where you flash my face that's red and has an exclamation point on it so that it's even more visually distracting.
Yeah, okay. Well, I honestly don't think anyone's watching these very much.
Well,
if they're listening, they're getting, here's the spoiler warning.
And they're hearing me
timestamps,
telling them about the visual they should be seeing.
Which I don't know if I'm putting in there. But, okay, here we're going. Spoilers, final warning. I'm really glad that the Vulture doesn't die.
Yeah.
He doesn't die because Spider-Man saves him. Because none of the other Marvel heroes so far would have saved their villain.
Yep.
Because it's been in...
his own hubris has caused him to go off into the brink, and the brink is death. He is dead now.
Yeah, it's either, someone got themselves killed because they were being a villain.
Being a bad guy.
Or
we all know bad guys deserve death in all situations.
Or you're Iron Man, Thor, and Black Widow, and you just kill people.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, he's a bad guy, I'm gonna kill him.
He has done too much harm, must be dead.
Yeah, must be clad.
Whereas, the Vulture's so good, guys.
Yeah, he's a really good villain. Now that people are listening, they better have already seen the movie.
They either have already seen it or I don't know if I want to see it. But
some people like spoilers before they see the movie, so
which is fine. So one, you set up the Vulture as that guy, and he's just so sympathetic.
Sympathetic.
The part where I was like, oh, this has turned me away from being a Vulture fan from this point on is when, but it was still a good moment. We've got the Shocker shows up. Shocker is part of his team.
Shocker.
And it's great because we see him, he's got an electro fist that they have salvaged from bits of alien tech.
Yeah, and they're making all their own
and he had already punched Spider-Man with it, and then he shows back up. He's makes a comment about him being oh, what, people are calling you the Shocker now?
Yeah.
And
basically there's a disagreement between the Shocker and the Vulture, and the Shocker says
has yellow sleeves on his I just love it.
That look like the Shocker
sleeves. They just look like the Shocker sleeves, and I love that part. But they have a disagreement, and he's like, fine,
and
I guess
Vulture
I'll
tries
go.
to fire him. No, the Vulture tries to fire him, and he says, he's like, you're more of a danger here than out there. And he's like, I mean, I could be a danger out there with
everything I know, yeah.
With everything I know. And then the Vulture's like, oh yeah? Alright. So he goes and gets this big alien gun, and he's like, is this ready? And like the tech guy's like,
yeah.
And he just points it at Shocker and shoots him, and it vaporizes him.
Annihilates him right there.
Kills the Shocker.
But and then the Vulture.
That's when you think, oh no, okay, the Vulture's
just like,
a bad
whoa,
guy, murderous
cold.
bad guy. It's like it's been long enough to where
without any kind of real
remorse. Then he's like, I thought that was the anti-gravity gun.
And then the guy's like, no, it's over here. And he's like, oh, well, I guess that's done. Like, I can't go back on that now.
Right. It's like, I can't unkill him. So he's not super broken up about it. And he clearly didn't like the guy. And it solved a problem. But he didn't mean to kill him.
That he wasn't trying to kill him from that point.
He didn't super need to kill him.
And then we got Shocker 2.
Yeah, we got
Shocker 2.0.
It's actually in the cast. It says Shocker 2 for that guy. He gives the Shocker.
And then at one
to
point,
guy.
while this guy is getting used to being the new Shocker, because apparently we need that mini arc in the background, he does something and is like working in the shop and gets paint on his sleeves or something
that give him yellow
sleeves. So it's very clear that like the Shocker has these yellow sleeve arms with his electric.
This is how it's gonna be. The Shocker's got yellow sleeve arms. And I don't care who's gonna be the Shocker. It's gonna be
yellow sleeve arms.
It is the will of God in this universe,
which I love. I love it. I love the subtle, but it's still very much clearly this is who this is.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on from that. Something as soon as it happened, because we were talking about, like I said in the beginning, the Vulture lives.
Yeah.
It looks like the Vulture's going to die because of his own, he's like, I can't leave this stash.
This score
he's gotta
behind.
leave this. He can't leave the score, so it's going to blow up. And Spider-Man's saying, the wings are going to blow up. Wait. He's trying to get away. They blow up, and then he falls down. But then Spider-Man goes in after him to save him.
Yep.
And they show him coming out with with the Vulture over his shoulders, and he saved his life. And there's a point early on in the movie where Tony Stark and Peter are having a confrontation, and it's when Tony takes away the suit, where he's like,
I'd say that's more midpoint. That's like at the midpoint of the whole deal.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's earlier. He takes away the suit, and he says, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have the suit. And there's another line where Peter's like, I just wanted to be like you. And he's like, well, Tony says, well, I wanted you to be better. After he saves the Vulture, that was when I was like holding back tears. I was like, he is better.
He was better.
He is better than
also,
him.
the fact about just saying, if you're nothing without the suit, you haven't earned the suit, which is just the whole...
That was really good,
too. Iron Man's, that was his whole arc.
That was what he went through in Iron Man 3.
That's what made that lesson more impactful.
It's like, Tony's gone through this.
Yeah, it wasn't just, I'm giving you the moral of the story before you have really understood it. It's, kid, listen.
It's like,
I am
went
older.
Through this.
I went through... It's what your dad says when he's like, son, listen. This thing you're doing... I did that. Do not do it. And you're like, shut up, old man.
You don't need
your wisdom. And it's like, oh, right. He went through this and experienced the same thing that I'm experiencing right now.
Yeah.
Really, I should listen. But you don't, because you're a kid.
Mm-hmm. So there was... Also, Spider-Man gets so much good character development in it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just Spider-Man is... maybe not in strength and ability, but he is... As far as moral compass and the things he wants to do, he is better than the Avengers. Like, he is better than his elders right now. Which is exactly where Spider-Man's supposed to be in the whole Marvel universe. It's like, he doesn't have all the power, but he seems to have the power to save people when other people don't care.
He is the token, he is the good boy of the Marvel. Like, there is Cap, who is the Boy Scout.
Who is the Boy Scout, but...
Peter Parker is just the quintessential good boy.
Cap's also had to fight a war.
Yeah.
Cap has these things that
he understands that war is a thing where people die in.
Right.
Whereas Peter Parker is a child.
Peter Parker's
who is like, no, people
I just
don't
save
die.
People.
Don't let people die. That is
that
primo,
killing is
number
wrong.
one. No do.
Which is, you need that. amongst all of these aggro murder monsters, like the Hulk. Not that he's doing it intentionally, but I mean, it's happening. But it's not just that. He gets the character development where it's like letting other people help him.
Yep.
He's like, because he's trying to do all this stuff on his own. But then at some point, his best friend Ned finds out.
I love Ned.
And Ned's like, please let me help. What can I do? Which parallels Peter going to Tony and being like, just what can I do? What do you need me to do? Let me do something.
I love Ned just as a character.
Yeah, and at
he's
the end,
he's a really good sidekick, a really good friend.
Yeah.
I like him.
Ned gets to be the guy in the chair.
And which he was talking about. He was like, do you want me to be the guy in the chair? What are you talking about? What guy in the chair?
Yeah, you know, like, everyone, you got the guy at the computer.
The Wade for Kim Possible.
Basically, that's what I said. I was like, he's Wade.
I like the romantic interest of this movie.
Yeah, I liked that because it wasn't ham-fisted.
And it didn't... The thing is that it really... A lot of people have problems to where you can't add tension anymore to establish stories like this. Because, like, if you put, like, Lois Lane in a dangerous situation, or you put some other character love interest, you know they're not gonna die, or they're almost certainly not gonna die at this point, because they're
not with Spider-Man.
not with, like...
He's the exception to the rule.
But, like, the thing is that with Gwen Stacy, right? With her, there is... People saw Gwen Stacy, and the people who knew Gwen Stacy went, oh, she's definitely gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what Gwen Stacy does. That's the thing.
If she isn't Spider-Man in another universe.
But there wasn't tension there, because it's like, oh, he can't save her because she has to die. With this girl...
Oh yeah, it was a new
girl.
Yeah.
New girl completely.
Also, she was never a damsel in distress.
No, she just happened to be in life-threatening situations.
The two people fighting are her boyfriend and her dad.
Spoiler. Huge spoiler there.
Well, I said spoilers.
I know, but like, just...
She's not going to be in danger because these two people are going to take it as far away from her as they can.
Mm-hmm. That was such a good... like reveal that it was just like...
The thing is, I thought Vulture had figured out.
Yeah, so that Peter shows up to finally work up the courage, ask her to homecoming.
And he does.
Tile drop.
She says yes.
She says yes, she shows up.
I like how Spider-Man Homecoming is absolutely the Spider-Man meme. The end promise tomorrow! Yep. It absolutely was that, and it was good. But anyway.
Yeah, he shows up, opens the door, and the Vulture is staring him right in the face, because he's seen the Vulture, because like there's not a whole lot protecting the Vulture's identity.
Yeah,
he's seen the Vulture a bunch of times. It's just like, where do I find this guy?
But the Vulture's never seen
Peter's face.
So he opens the door and he's like, you must be Peter.
But there's enough moments throughout the whole movie up to that point to where he's noticed, Spider-Man showed up.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man
in New York, in DC.
In a DC with a decathlon
from New York,
from Queens. This school in Queens, and he's like, I bet he's one of those kids in that decathlon.
You think that's what you're thinking?
You're thinking, yeah. You're thinking, I bet he can narrow that down. Yeah. He's like, because this is at the point where the Vulture is fed up with Spider-Man and he wants to get him out of the way. So you see him seeing this news report that's happening in DC, because they go to his academic decathlon team goes to DC for was it a championship or something? Yeah, and they win. Spider-Man wasn't there because he had to go be Spider-Man, but he saves them.
Another one of those kind of, I can't be with my friends or a normal school setting because Spider-Man. Right.
But he has to save them in the Washington Monument because of the elevator's getting destroyed. Because there was if they've seen the movie,
it's whatever.
They had that technology. Like
it's blown up.
The elevator. Anyway, what I was thinking is he's narrowed it down. When I see him open that door and Vulture is at his girlfriend's house. And Pete's just like goes white.
Just drains of all color.
I'm like, oh, they're fighting right now. This is going down right now.
But it doesn't.
But then he shakes his hand and he's like, I'm her father. And I'm just like, what?
And then you are subjected, if you haven't seen the movie, you are subjected to, and everybody who's seen it understands this feeling. Right. The most tense moments I've had in like a superhero movie.
Yeah, in a bit.
In a long time. Because like there is a very real like... I honestly don't know where this is going.
Yeah,
like,
thought the movie...
Is he playing this as, like, a thing? Does he not want to do this in front of his family? Does he know?
But then he finds out on the car ride.
And it's not one of those, like, hey, Dad, let me just talk about these things that very blatantly put it together. It's one of those, like, I was already on this kind of thread of thought.
I could have figured this out even without that.
Yeah.
That just put it into perspective.
That just put everything, and it was normal dialogue that's like, Peter, you're always... It's like, I'm gonna rib you for not being around not being around when cool things are happening.
Yeah.
And it's just like, haha, and then like, oh, wait. Oh,
this kid's Spider-Man.
Oh, this kid's and he keeps his cool throughout the whole thing, and he lets him out, and he's like, we're gonna talk, just us men, talk. In the car real quick.
She goes out, he pulls the gun out of the glove box, and just turns and looks at him, and he has the conversation.
And I was so surprised by that conversation, too, because I was like, he's just gonna take care of it right now, and then there's gonna be a fight. But no, he's like, kid, you've done me... Like, I still care about my family. I don't care where you think villains are supposed to go. Cough, cough, Marvel. But, like, I deeply, like, I care about doing this stuff and making the money that I am so that I can do this for my family.
Yeah.
To make sure that we don't have to go hungry.
And if you interfere...
And you saved my daughter. You saved my daughter's life.
Yeah.
If you just were like, oh, my daughter is also dating Spider-Man, congrats. I'm going to take care of it and something bad happened to your one-time hanging out boyfriend. But no, you saved my daughter's life. That is not something I'm going to just let go without any kind of...
You know, that's not
a small thing.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Go to the dance, have a good time, and
not too good of a good time.
Don't mess with me or my business, and we're square.
Yeah, and like he puts the gun away, and he's like, "I just saved your life by not killing you."
What do you say when someone saves your life?
Oh yeah,
and I was.
Thank you.
That whole time.
That was good.
Like,
God, he's such a good
I was like, from the time Peter shows up to the house to the time where he gets out of that car and is away from the immediate threat.
Yeah.
I was, like, fully tensed.
And it makes that whole thing, it makes it so, like, worth it after the fact, in the after the credits scene, where the Vulture does not sell Peter out. Because he knows who Spider-Man is now. Like, he knows what he looks like, knows where he goes to school. Yeah.
Knows his full name.
He knows who he is. And Scorpion shows up, and he's like saying, you know, we all got a bone to pick with Spider-Man. Because, you know, when a supervillain gets into jail, it's like, man, freaking Spider-Man.
We got a team coming together. It's probably the Sinister Six.
And I heard that you might know who he is. And the Vulture just says, if I knew who he was, he'd already be dead.
And then walks away.
Yeah, and the Scorpion buys it. So, God, it was cool when he didn't sell him out. Because I'm like, I really like the Vulture. I want to see more Vulture.
Gosh. And then everything else just was really good. I liked Ned finding out when he did. I just really liked Ned's whole finding out early.
Yeah, and I liked Ned's character arc.
Yeah, and that gives you a lot more play with Spider-Man having somebody who knows and being able to work with them. Because, like, having just Spider-Man his own, like, internal conflict and without being able to externalize it to someone makes it harder for us to get a lot of that kind of stuff going on.
And I like Ned for the same reasons that I liked Michael Pena in Ant-Man. It's this hero has a connection personal to him that knows what he does that isn't connected to the larger cinematic universe that we've already seen.
Yep.
Because, you know, you get Captain America, his only friends are the Avengers.
Yeah.
Basically. But then he meets Falcon.
And that, even though it's another superhero...
Yeah.
But it still gives you somebody to kind of work off of.
Yeah, I like when you have the hero who has this friend, and that's their friend.
People need friends.
Right. Tony has...
Narratively, and also people need friends. But like, yeah.
Right.
But like...
Iron Man has War Machine.
Yep.
Captain America has Falcon. Even if they're a superhero,
Thor just has his human squad, which I'm not too, like...
Which he doesn't really have anymore.
Yeah, and like
they broke up.
And I'm just like not totally sold on them. Like, they were my least favorite, like, secondary squad.
Yeah, I liked. I liked Thor having this group of humans that could bounce off of his fish out of waterness.
But like, it just got to the point where it was just like
It wasn't really working.
And then they brought in his like Asgardian friends, and it just kind of
worked so much better. Yeah. In my opinion, he's much better. And almost Thor's guy is kind of Loki at this point.
Yeah,
that's his other personal connection.
But Ned's really good.
Also, I guess Loki's kind of cheating because Loki's had more movies right now, so Loki probably is still #1 best villain in Marvel's cinematic universe, but man, the Vulture comes close. And I know that the Vulture will not be the main villain, probably for another movie, but the fact that he's alive means that he could show up later, maybe in a Sinister Six movie, maybe even could become kind of an anti-hero situation in a few, maybe near the end of the movie, it's like, I didn't sign up for this. So I'm gonna fight with Spider-Man now.
We haven't talked about Donald Glover showing up.
Oh yeah, the Prowler. He's basically just established in the movie.
So yeah,
his scenes are really good.
He's got two small scenes that he shows up in and like gives Peter some a good scene to be in.
Almost kind of some guidance.
Yeah, a little bit.
When he tries to interrogate him and he's like,
"You are really bad at this."
Yeah, I love the line where he's like, he knows he's Spider-Man, everyone knows Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is a good hero, but the part where he's trying to interrogate him for information, he's like, you need to get better at this part of the job.
You need to be able to like talk to
you need to be able
punks
to talk
on the street, and be able to get something out of them so you can keep moving.
Which is good because the Prowler in the Spider-Man
I didn't know this
universe,
until Tim brought this up after we watched it, because they just established first name last name of Donald Glover's character.
Yeah, but in his file he has an alias that is the Prowler. He's kind of this, criminal connection that Spider-Man can get. And he stops being a criminal eventually. And at some point even works as a body double for Spider-Man. Because...
So, we found the one character who can still be, without being Miles Morales...
Oh yeah, like you could switch to a new Spider-Man
or
if you
just,
needed to.
We can be like, hey guys, you know how you want Donald Glover to be Spider-Man?
Oh, you're right!
Donald Glover can be Spider-Man now without having to be Miles Morales. And it's like...
Fun fact...
Oh, you guys flipped it... Oh, you guys did it. You figured it out without having to... Oh, you sneaky...
Yeah, fun fact, Donald Glover did voice Miles Morales in Ultimate Spider-Man, so he has been Miles Morales in the past.
But, that's what people are like, we want Donald Glover to be Spider-Man, and the only way you can do that is by having him be Miles Morales. How do you even work Miles Morales into this whole thing without getting rid of Peter?
Yeah, we won't.
Prowler?
We'll do the Prowler.
How's about Prowler? I forgot about Prowler!
They do set up a lot of stuff in the movie, but it doesn't interfere the main story. Like, Spider-Man Homecoming is still very much about Spider-Man, and it's about the Vulture. See, I have huge problems with most MCU villains, because they show up, they don't have a lot of depth, and then they have one fight at the end where they die. And you never think of them again.
And they're gone.
Like Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible. That's all he does.
Right.
I mean, he has this kind of personal connection to... Hank Pym,
but there's not really.
There's just not enough there.
Kind of like what's his name?
Obadiah Stane,
or the Whip guy from Iron Man 2.
Yeah, they have
all of them show up.
He at least encounters him in kind of a fight in the beginning,
right? But the thing is that he is his nugget is only in Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
and then he gets his build up, and then he's dead by the end of it, right?
Yeah. And I'm not going to say that eventually Yellow Jacket or Wasp or Ironmonger could have turned into these amazing villains later if you'd kept them alive, but... And I'm not even saying you can't kill a villain at the end, but if you are going to kill a villain at the end, make them a better character before you get there, because it...
Obadiah Stane is barely a blip on my character radar.
Yeah, Obadiah Stane was like... We got friggin' Jeff Bridges... to play this, he could be a very imposing villain and a good villain for Tony, but it was kind of just, I'm your almost uncle. I've been in your life. I've been around you your whole life, and I'm almost like an uncle. Oh, I'm just gonna be totally evil now. Yep. So Tony's like, okay, well, I'm gonna protect myself. So you're gonna die now.
And then he's gone.
Yeah, and he's gone. I think Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy was okay. He, at least, you could kind of get a character out of him.
And, he serves a larger purpose in the villain hierarchy there.
But he's still, I don't care about him now.
Well, yeah.
He's gone.
But, the thing is
I would argue Ego was a good Marvel villain.
From
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
He was a good villain. It's it's one movie, but he is very much a character.
Yep.
You get his personality, you get the way he changes, and when the conflict happens, it's like, all right, well, this is an emotional conflict, but I want him dead. Mm-hmm. And then he dies. I guess that's a good sign. The last two Marvel films have had good villains, and one of them we even got to keep. We get to have him now, just like Loki. He's probably, like
setting up Spider-Man's gallery of rogues is really important, I think, for Spider-Man.
Absolutely, because not only is Spider-Man a great character on his own, but Spider-Man is also great because of all of the fantastic villains that come with him. Like, I think that's another issue with...
Spider-Man is the Batman of Marvel.
He absolutely is. He absolutely is, which is why it's good that he's in the MCU now.
Yeah.
Because it would have been like having...
Because, like, there's some good play against villains with the other Marvel characters. But, like, you've got, for Iron Man, you've got who, really, that stands out as, like, a huge deal?
I mean, Ultron was going to be a big Iron Man villain. I mean, he always has been a big Iron Man villain.
But he plays more
into... The Mandarin was going to be a big Iron Man villain, but that was a bait and switch that, while it works great in the movie, is very disappointing if you're expecting
the Mandarin.
Right.
Because, like, man, he's cool. He got power rings.
Yeah,
you got magic in a world ruled by science for this character.
We're running low on time, so we should maybe wrap it up. But no, I'm not. Don't apologize, you loser.
Okay.
I should apologize for insulting you directly.
Science, though, as a main theme of, I like Spider-Man's villains and how they're all like, we all made ourselves using pulpy science. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like,
and I actually,
and that's like a major thing for like with Iron Man, I've got magic rings, like that just kind of happens.
It isn't in the MCU.
Right.
Everyone in the MCU is a science villain now. There's some kind of absolute...
What about Iron Fist?
I said MCU.
Is he not...
The Netflix stuff it feels like it's kind of in its own little bubble.
Okay.
It's they all kind of acknowledge each other.
Doctor Strange is definitely...
Never mind.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is absolutely magic.
Crazy, actual,
but everyone else,
magic.
Everyone else up to that point had all been very science focused.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Thor is still magic. It's science type magic. But it is magic.
Science so far beyond human level that it might as well be magic.
It is. But, like, it is...
There's a hammer that has a moral compass.
Yeah. Thor, I don't care if you're like, it is science that looks like magic. It's still, in essence, of the whole mechanic, like, the way it works.
Yeah,
magic. That's just magic.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is magic.
Yeah, it's 100% magic.
But
Spider-Man is very much a science
and it's not just
hero.
Science, it's not just Tony Stark, I have a bunch of money, built this thing. It is, we took, like, just sciencey things and different aspects of science. Like radioactivity messed with its DNA, or the Vulture has just built himself, or he is a
from
Vulture
alien
hybrid.
technology. He reverse engineered alien technology.
Doc Ock, cybernetic implant or mechanical implants.
Man, I really hope Doc Ock happens in the MCU. I'd like to see Doc Ock.
Like, the most magical thing that happens in Spider-Man is Mysterio.
Well, I mean, it's fake. It's illusion.
Yeah, it's all fake and crazy. And then you've got Venom, who is just some kind of space demon, which is as close to magic as you're probably going to get.
Oh, I mean, it's an alien.
It's an alien, but like alien is essentially science magic for Marvel. It's, well, we don't want it to just be magic,
right?
But we want it to be unexplained and nobody question it. It's alien technology.
But anyway,
yeah.
I really liked it.
It's so good.
It makes me really confident in the MCU once again, because this was kind of
refreshing. Very refreshing.
It was refreshing. It's good when movies like this happen, because it was the same thing I got from Ant-Man, where it was like, that was when Marvel was really suffering from spectacle creep when Ant-Man came out, which is like, they had to keep going bigger and bigger and bigger, and if it wasn't big enough, it felt like it was a disappointment.
Yeah.
Like, Age of Ultron especially didn't feel big enough while it was trying to be big. Mm-hmm. And then Ant-Man happens, and it's very small, it's very personal, it's high stakes, but the whole world is not at stake. Yeah, that's Spider-Man made you care more about Spider-Man, proving himself than saving the entire planet from destruction.
Right. He was mostly just preventing other criminals in New York from getting weapons they shouldn't have. And that's it.
Yeah. He was trying to prevent something bigger from happening, of course. But what I was invested in more
even then, the stakes of even that happening was not really that big. In the grand scheme of,
it wasn't huge.
Aliens coming to conquer the Earth,
yeah.
It's just great. Now they're robbing banks crazy easy, and people might get vaporized or something. But,
that's what I'm saying. What I cared more about was not... the entire world is at stake, and these guys have to come together to save the world. I care more about Peter successfully being able to prove himself as a hero, and then in the process actually being better than a lot of the Marvel heroes. Be it because, Vulture isn't as big of a cosmic threat, so he can live. You can take him alive. But, man, I really freaking liked that movie. I recommend it.
I want Marvel to get it and keep going.
I'm buying that one day one. I don't buy all the Marvel movies. I didn't buy Dark World. I didn't buy Age of Ultron. But as soon as that thing comes out on Blu-ray, I'm getting it. Also, best credit sequence that any Marvel has ever had. It was it had the sketchy the stop motion.
It looks so
much
good.
Color, and it had style, and this movie had a great soundtrack.
I thought you were talking about the second after credit scene.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, that was funny too. Captain America, patience. Why did I wait so long for something so disappointing? He's like,
and then it just stopped.
How many more of these do I need to do?
And then it's over, and it's just you magnificent.
I also love how just in the middle of this, Captain America is still a wanted fugitive.
Yeah, this is still happening in the greater story of
of Marvel. And I here's two. We gotta stop.
Sorry,
we're gonna talk forever. But here's two things that I really liked. I liked Spider-Man thinking he's getting too big for high school.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't need this anymore. I just want to go be a superhero. I like that because I could empathize with that, especially at that time.
Yeah,
when I was that age. He was a sophomore, and he was like, I've already saved the world. I'm ready to leave. This is nothing to me. Kind of getting an ego, but also, legitimately frustrated. Mm-hmm. I liked the popular girl not being a dirtbag.
Yeah.
She was on the same academic team as him, and she happened to be popular. I don't know about you, but my old high school, some of the most popular people were in the, intelligent
They were just smart, cool kids.
Yeah.
I like having cool, popular kids who are cool because they're cool people, not because they're popular because they're rich or they're pretty. Kids that are cool for being cool people.
Right, and I liked Flash not being a cliche, sportsman jock who's just coming here to beat up on the nerds.
He's just kind of a punk.
He's an extremely obnoxious douche.
Yeah, he's just a punk.
He's a punk who's in the academic thing with him.
He is literally today's version of a bully.
Yeah.
He is because the jock bully... It's kind of died out. Jocks have just kind of been like, look, I'm going to just go play sports.
I think it's because jocks play video games and watch superhero movies now.
Now you've just got, I'm going to take the status that I have.
Not leave me alone.
And I'm just going to kind of rag on you because, it makes me feel better.
And I'm going to work penis into your name.
It's the same core through line of why I'm a bully.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel better as a person, but how he's doing it is different now.
Yeah.
He's a DJ.
Yeah. That's not like we hate DJs or anything.
No,
not
but
totally
it's just
not saying that.
But it's just of course he's a DJ.
Yeah.
Of course he does certain things. He has a moment where he's in the elevator, it's collapsing. He's like, "Wait, take my trophy first." He calls it my trophy.
Right.
Even though he was he wasn't even the one that won it.
He was a good, convincing bully that wasn't cliche. We need to stop. We are rambling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. No, I mean, I'm
not apologizing to you. I'm apologizing to the people
we've gone over time
who are still listening to us.
Oh, right.
I'm apologizing to you,
the listener.
One person who decided to stay through this whole thing, or are driving in your car.
Oh, maybe.
Just waiting. Maybe me in the future.
It's
on
more,
a long car ride.
Thank goodness for it being more convenient for them to pay attention to the road than to turn off the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyway, that'll probably wrap up this episode. Guess you want to play Smash Brothers? Get
Are we still on film right now? Are we still recording? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then yeah, definitely.
We go do that.
Then definitely, I'm gonna go play Smash Brothers.
Oh, after the movie, real quick story. After the movie, went to a Taco Bell, right? This guy comes up to us. He's got some pamphlets, right? Beautiful, very, very, very non-threatening, hair-parted Christian white boy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the pamphlets. I'm like, no, the pamphlets were not.
No. He comes up to us, starts handing pamphlets out to people.
He was like, would you like a pamphlet?
Super bloody, violent anime Jesus on them.
God. So bloody.
And when I say anime, it's like very simple,
there is more
bright
blood.
Coloring.
Yeah, there's more blood than on this Jesus than there should be.
There's more blood in this pamphlet than Castlevania. But he's handing it to us.
That's a lie, you know it.
Okay, it
rained blood in Castlevania.
That's true. Anyway, starts handing it to people. Doesn't hand one to me. So I'm like, what about me looks like I cannot be saved? Not that I'm wanting any of this. It was just like...
Oh, none of us did.
Yeah, it was unsolicited.
It was me,
but he
Tim, and
rude.
Tim's three sisters.
Yeah, he was
all hanging out at Taco Bell, and he was just like, hey, would you like a pamphlet?
Yeah.
Maybe it was because you didn't say, yes, I would like a pamphlet.
Well, other people had said yes, and I was at the same table.
But, he's not going to...
Shut up. This is not the story. The story is that I have to just look on to other people's things. I didn't quite see what was going on. And then you say, ooh, Lebanon, Ohio, it's Lebanese. It's like, oh, this exotic church somehow went to a Taco Bell in Tennessee to say, hey,
would you like a pamphlet with a rather bloody Jesus?
Come to Lebanon, Ohio. I know it's not close. Anyway, that is a little story that happened.
I threw that away as soon as we got back here.
Oh, yeah.
It fell out of my pocket.
I looked at the checklist.
Like, I don't need to put it back in my pocket.
The checklist on the back was basically like...
would you rather be saved?
Would you rather be saved or burn in hell? Check here to burn in hell.
It was, would you rather be, check 1 for saved in God's holy light, or B, burn in a lake of fire? And everyone at our table was... That Lake of Fire sounds rad,
That sounds ballin',
yeah,
dude.
let's do Lake of Fire.
I feel
That's
like
all
maybe
I needed to read.
he could hear us, too.
Oh, I bet he did. We're loud. We were just like, Lake of Fire, sign me up.
Anyway, exotic Lebanese church wanted to give us some anime Jesus love.
And convinced us that Lakes of Fire were indeed the ultimate outcome.
Pretty rad. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Probably won't see Wesley next week, but... I mean, that's not like a never thing again.
I'll be around.
You might be in another one. Who knows? Unless, die on your way home. It's a pretty long drive.
It is.
And it's treacherous.
Tim has almost died twice.
I've almost died twice
other way.
coming the other way, yeah. The way you'll be going. Godspeed.